morning, I'm Richard from Pleasureway Industries, and today we're going to talk about your Ascent TS van. We're going to start right at the driver's door, point out some components as we move around, and then move inside and show you how all the appliances work inside there. All right, so first of all, we're going to start by opening up your driver's door. We're going to show you a couple things here. First thing I'm going to show you is your diesel fill. Like I said, you have to open up your driver's door, and the little door opens up here, and you can have access to your cap right here. Now, while we're right here, right along your side post here, we've got your occupant and cargo carrying capacity sticker. This gives you the specific weight carrying capacity of your vehicle. In this one here, it is 1,623 pounds, and that tells you how much you can carry for occupants, how much cargo you can carry, and it also gives you your tire sizes and tire pressures for front and back on the vehicle for you. So always make sure that you check that capacity so that you know that you are under that limit with the amount of stuff you're carrying inside your vehicle. So a couple other things I want to point out while we've got the driver open here is underneath the floorboards here is where your chassis battery is mounted. Like I said, you have to remove the floorboards and the side here to get at it. And then under the edge of your driver's seat, we've got a little access panel here that allows us to get at some of the automotive fuses for the vehicle here. Like I said, so if you ever have something that you need to check, lost the ability on something, come and check your fuses here. Like I said, your driver's manual will tell you which fuses are what inside it. Zippers close. So now we'll take our key and we'll move on downside the unit here. So first thing we're going to open up here is our exterior shower. Like I said, so this is nice and easy. Like I said, it's got about a 3-foot hose here. Like I said, with hot and cold water. Like I said, makes it nice for washing kids and bikes and stuff while you're out camping on the campground. Now, the one thing you want to remember with this is, because this is on the outside of the unit, you want to make sure that you winterize this. Like I said, when you're pumping the antifreeze through, make sure you come out, run each tap so that you've got your pink antifreeze flowing through each line on the system here. And then when you go to travel, just make sure you lock that up and keep that out of your way. Now, beside that, we have our utility center. It just pops open. It's got a little catch there to hold it open. Now, on the top left-hand corner here, we've got our electronic valve for our propane tank. Now, what this does is, like I said, you don't have to go under and open the valve on the propane tank in order to run propane. All you have to do is push the on button. Like I said, that electronically opens it up and allows your gas to flow. Now, when you're filling your tanks, like I said, either propane or diesel, you want to make sure that's in the off position, and also make sure that all your appliances are shut off. That way something isn't going to try and ignite while you're filling those systems on your unit. Okay, so now below that we have our city water. This allows us to hook up a garden hose directly to the unit and to pressurize the entire water system. You hook this up, like I said, it'll send water out to all your taps, sinks, showers, toilet. It will fill your water heater, and like I said, will give you pressure without needing to use the water in your fresh tank or to use your pump. Now, one thing we want to remember is when we're winterizing, we've got to winterize this too. So once we've done all our taps and stuff inside the unit, we turn off our pump. Like I said, release the pressure on the kitchen tap, take this little filter off, and then inside here there's a little check valve. You just give it a little push. You should have a little bit of water and a little bit of antifreeze flowing out. If you're not getting any antifreeze, just hold that button in, get somebody to quickly push the pump button. Like I said, it'll pressurize it a little bit and allow the antifreeze to flow out. Make sure though, before you push that button, that you've released the pressure. Otherwise you can pop the seal inside there. And then make sure you put your little seal back in place so you don't lose that. Now beside that, we have our coax input for cable. So this allows us to hook up to a cable service or a portable satellite dish, and then this sends the signal directly back to where our television is inside the unit here. Now lastly in the system, we have our battery or our shore power connection. So this little thing opens up like that. Then we grab our cord that comes inside our unit. You'll see the little orange red light is on. That means that we are getting power from our source where the unit is plugged in. Like I said, there's 3 little tabs. We just line those up, push it in, give it a little bit of a turn, and then the black collar we just turn, and that locks it in place so that that's solid for when, if somebody happens to trip over your cord, it's not going to get pulled out of the side of your unit here. All right, so that's that. Now let's pop down to the bottom here quickly and show you your sewer system. So in the bottom here, we have a little access here, pops open, and we've got access to our sewer cap and our sewer hose here. So our sewer cap in the middle, we just pop that off. Our garden hose, or our sewer hose will just hook on there and run out to our drain. And then we've got our black tank and our gray tank. Black, of course, being toilet, gray being sinks, showers, and such inside the unit. Now, so what I always start with is opening the black. That'll allow the solid waste out of the toilet to come through. And then once that's drained, then I pull the gray tank, and that'll help wash out your hose, because that's usually just sort of dirty, soapy water, and will make it easier when you go to put your hose away. Now your hose is mounted just behind your cap here. We've got the cap off so you can see your hose there. And like I said, you're supplied with a couple of 10-foot hoses that are connected inside there. And like I said, makes a nice, easy storage and keeps it clean from having to put them inside your unit. Okay, so our low points on our Ascent here are just mounted underneath here along behind our sewer mount here. Like I said, again, we have 3 hoses. We have a cold, hot, and recirculating line, white, blue, and red. And we want to make sure that once we've done our winterizing that we open those valves up to allow any last of the water to flow out there. Okay, so our water here, just a little turn knob here at the top. The door pops off and hangs. Got a couple of straps to hold it in place. Now there's a couple of things we want to show you inside here. On the far right hand side we have our power button. This allows the 12-volt power to come to our water heater so that we can use all the controls inside to actually run the water heater. So we just turn that on. You'll see a little green light come on here to let you know that the water heater is now got power and all the functions inside will now work. Now for summerizing and winterizing the unit, we come over to this side. This big yellow thing here, we just push up on this little black catch. This pops down. The filter comes out and our water will drain out of here. Before you do this, you make sure that you've released the pressure in the system. So you turn off the pump, open up a tap, and then I come out here and I open the PT valve here, pressure relief valve here. Like I said, that'll allow a little bit of water to come out and any excess pressure will release. That way when you drop this down, like I said, you won't have any pressure on this and it'll just flow out. You just let it run until it's stopped, close that up, and then put that up for winter. And then I take this filter and put it inside the unit. And then in summer, just reverse. Open it up, put the filter in, push this up, give that a quick snap into place. Make sure your pressure relief valve is closed. So once you've de-winterized your unit, then this will be ready for summer use. Okay, so we'll put the cover back up. I said make sure that locks in place solid. I said give it a quick pull. That way you know it's going to stay on there nice solid while you're driving down the road. Now beside that we have our furnace exhaust. Now this, like I said, main thing here is to make sure that nothing is blocking that when you're running your furnace. Like I said, it needs good airflow there to allow it to go, and also to make sure that when it is running that you don't bump into that. That gets extremely hot when your furnace is running. So just a little safety precaution on that. Okay, now we move down the side of the rest of the unit, and the last thing on this side of the unit is our exhaust for our battery compartment. This allows any air to vent out of the unit since the battery box is sealed inside the unit. All right, let's move around the back of the unit. Okay, so now that we're at the back, like I said, the first thing we're going to mention is at the very top here, we have our backup camera. Now this is connected directly into our stereo system in the front of the unit. As soon as you put the unit in reverse, this camera will come on, give you a great view behind your unit. Like I said, you can also manually go through your stereo components and turn it on so that you can see if you're towing something behind, to give you a view while you're driving down the road as well. Like I said, just a nice little option there. Now as we come down, like I said, at the bottom here, since we're talking about towing, we have our hitch mounted in the back here. Like I said, all ready, all wired, 7-pin plug. Like I said, so we can carry anything. Like I said, also gives you the option for bike carrier or storage pod on the back of the unit here. Now on the bottom left-hand corner here, we have our propane system. So now this is two different things. Like I said, this is your fill. So when you're pulling up to a service station, you want to make sure this is near their fill hose system. A certified tech at their gas station has to fill this for you. So like I said, what they'll do is they'll take this off, hook up their hose, open this up, allow it to fill up the propane. Once you get a little bit of propane coming out of here, they'll shut it off, close everything up, and then they should put this cap back on. I mention that because I want to make sure that you double check before you leave that they've put that cap back on to keep any dirt and dust out of there, make it easier for filling this next time you need to do it. And on the far left-hand side of this, we have a BBQ Quick Connect. So this little thing pops back, a little cover comes out. Now this allows us to hook up a Quick Connect hose to a non-regulated appliance, like a barbecue or fire pit. Then you push this little valve over and that will allow the propane to flow out to your appliance. Again, making sure that the appliance we're using is non-regulated, since this is a regulated source. If you use a regulated appliance, like I said, the gas flow will be too low and you probably will not be able to light it at all. And then make sure you put that little cap back in, again, to protect this and keep any dirt and dust from getting in there, so that next time you want to use it, she's ready to go. All right, let's look inside the back of the unit here. All right, so let's open up the back doors now. Pop that open, that open. Now, this allows us to get at the back of the unit and access where our batteries are. So if we just look underneath here, our little cover just pops off. It's magnetic cover. And then there's a little center catch there, and that's where our lithium ion batteries are if we need to access them. So we're going to talk about your batteries in the unit. Your unit comes with 200 amp hour lithium ion batteries. Now, to charge these batteries, there are 4 sources in this unit. First of all, your alternator. When you're running your vehicle, the alternator sends a charge back to charge the batteries. Second source would be your shore power. When you have the unit plugged in, shore power comes in, runs through your inverter and charges your battery system that way. Then your generator is another source, which creates the power, again, goes through your inverter and charges your battery system. And then your last source would be your solar system, which has its own charge controller. The power comes down through it, through your charge controller, to charge the batteries in the back. Okay, just a note about your charge system. None of those charge systems will charge your chassis battery. It will only be charged by your alternator when your vehicle is running. So one component of your charging system is a master volt charger. It is mounted in the rear by your batteries, and what it does is it prevents any surges of power coming from your alternator into the lithium ion batteries, just to make sure that it's got steady charge going into those batteries, just as a prevention method. When we're charging these batteries, there's a couple things we want to remember. First of all is that they need to be above freezing temperature in order for them to charge properly. This is 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. The way to check that is on your monitors in the unit, there is a little temperature gauge with a thermistor on the batteries letting you know what temperature the batteries are at. So make sure you have that above that temperature before you start charging your system. So your batteries can discharge when the temperature is below 0, but you just want to make sure that before you start sending a charge into a battery that it gets above that 0 temperature. Now, when you're charging your battery up, the batteries include a charge management system. What this does is it protects it from overcharging. So when your battery gets to 100%, it will not accept a charge anymore. Like I said, it stops, protects the batteries, and prevents it from charging. So when your battery's at 100%, you can still you can plug in your unit or run the generator without worrying about having the temperature above 0, or even your solar system, because the batteries will not accept the charge and they'll be protected from that problem. So there's 2 sources to disconnect the batteries inside the unit. First being a little red button on your monitor that disconnects any 12-volt power source from drawing on your batteries. What this is used for is if you're not using your unit for an extended period of time and not running anything inside your unit, you turn off that, and that will disconnect any source from drawing on your batteries, so your batteries will maintain the charge that they hold. One thing it will not do is disconnect charge coming to your batteries from your shore power or your generator. They will continue to charge. Now the second source is a key in the back that disconnects the charge sources from your batteries. So your solar and your alternator. So this means that it can disconnect it so you can run your vehicle when it's below 0, and your solar and your alternator will not try and charge the batteries when they're low. So a little tip about how to check to see if your batteries are actually trying to charge is to go to your monitor panel. There is a real-time amp draw or amp charge dial on it, and it will show whether or not it's a positive or charge going in or a negative draw on your batteries. If you're driving, usually it'll show about a 40 amp charge from your alternator, and when you're sitting or plugged into shore power, you'll see between 55 and 65 amp input from your inverter as well. So if you're driving and you see that your real-time amp meter is not showing a charge coming from your alternator, right above the batteries there are 2 reset breakers that prevent any overcharge hitting the battery, high amperage output. If you've lost that charge coming from your alternator, check those 2. There's one on the left and one on the right-hand side, and they're just a little reset switch on there that you can push to the side, and you'll hear it snap into place if it has tripped at some point. So on your Mercedes Sprinter chassis, your battery is not mounted under your hood, so if you ever need to boost or charge your system, like I said, you've got a red little tab here that pushes back, and you can connect your charger or booster cable to the positive here, and your negative is mounted along your sidewall here. Like I said, it's a little brass connection, and you just clamp on your connection there, and that will send the charge to your battery that's under your driver's seat in the front. In the front here, we have a little kit that is a sort of a battery repair or tire repair kit. Sorry, like I said, it has a little compressor in there and some minor repair kit for fixing any flats you might have out on the road that you might not be able to get to a service station. That'll help you out there as well. So the other thing we want to mention is our seat belts on the back here. Like I said, they just slip in between the cushions in here so that we can have seating in the back of the unit. Like I said, and they can just pull out, like I said, when we're not using them. Making sure that when we do it, we make sure that those belts go up underneath this bar, not over them. Like I said, because if they're over, like I said, they won't work properly. So make sure that they go underneath the bar when you're using these seat belts. Okay, now at the top of the rear, we have our screen wall. So we're just gonna step up here and release that. And then it just unrolls all the way down to the bottom here. The zippers down the side, like I said, to lock it in place. And then some Velcro along the bottom to help seal this nice and tight to the bottom. Help keeping any bugs and stuff you want out. Like I said, gives you a nice venting along the back. Now when your bed is in the down position, it comes to about this height. So like I said, now you have access out through the back. Like I said, at this height, like I said, with a secondary zipper. Also, we have the option of leaving this cargo storage area open. So this will just close up or roll up. Those snap in place, and now we have, like I said, when the bed's in the down position, we still have access to our cargo compartment as well. So now, and like I said, when you're done, like I said, we just roll the whole thing up. snap them in place to lock it up in place. And then making sure it's nice and tucked up in the corners there so it doesn't get caught in your door as you're closing the back doors. All right, now let's move around the passenger side. Okay, so now that we're on the passenger side, like I said, we'll just note that your generator is mounted just behind your rear axle on your unit. Your exhaust comes out here on the back, like I said, and we're just going to mention that if you need to access the inside of the generator, the door is facing towards the differential in the front of the unit, and it's got a heat shield on it. And you'll have to reach up between the heat shield to get at the door latch in order to take the door off the front and get inside. Okay, so right now, the next thing we're going to talk about is our 110 outlet here. We've got a weather shield on the outside, so we can open that up and get at our 2 outlets on the back. Now this is GFI controlled. This and all the plugs inside the unit are controlled by one major GFI outlet, and it is mounted on the rear driver's side Ottoman in the back of the unit. And we'll show you that when we go inside the unit. All right. Now the next thing we've got along the side of the unit is our freshwater fill. So this here, like I said, just pops open like this. The cap just pops open, and this allows us to stick a garden hose in there and to fill our freshwater tank. Now there's a couple ways to see if your tank is full. One is you just let it run, and once it gets to the full, like I said, you'll just have water pouring out of here. Take out your hose and put the cap back on, and you're ready to go. The other is to watch on your control panel inside. Like I said, on the monitor, like I said, it will show when your tank gets to 100% on inside there. Again, once it gets to that point, just put your cap on and close this up, making sure to lock that in place so that when you open up your door, like I said, this door doesn't happen to catch on the door as you're opening and closing the unit. Now, to drain this for winter, your water tank is mounted just under the unit in front of the tire here. Like I said, and the valve is just underneath here. Like I said, just give it a quarter turn and you'll see the water start flowing out for winter. Just let it run onto the ground, and once it stops running, you're ready to go. I like to leave it open for the winter. That way, if there's any moisture in there, it still has somewhere to expand out into, and will cause no damage to your unit at that point. Okay, so we're going to open up your passenger door here. Just give that a pull, and like I said, your door will open. Like I said, I'm actually going to stop it partway, like I said, so that we can just quickly access our panel here to get our awning open. So we'll just pop it over into the mechanical page, like I said, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go inside, close the door, and bring the awning out. That way, like I said, and we don't have any worries about our awning maybe catching the top of the door. Like I said, as a safety precaution, we recommend that. Okay, so now we've got our awning open. This is considered a sunshade awning, like I said, which means it's designed to be out when you're, to give you some shade in the sun. It's not meant to be out when it's raining or when it's windy and stuff. We always recommend, if you're leaving your unit, always make sure you put your awning away. Like I said, it is supported by these 2 legs inside here. They're spring loaded to help bring your awning in and out and make it nice and easy. Also along the front edge, we have a set of LED lights, like I said, which like I said, makes it nice and easy, gives a good light underneath your awning when you're using it. And then, like I said, yeah, like I said, just make sure you put it away. This awning does have a wind sensor, like I said, so if there's a small gust while you're using it, like I said, it will, like I said, rattle the awning a bit, and then we'll try and put it away automatically just to protect itself. All right, so let's bring the awning back in, and we'll move inside the unit. Your Pleasureway unit is equipped with 2 10-inch touchscreen control panels, one in the front and one in the back. And today we're going to be going through the front one here to explain all the features that are included in it. We're going to start right on the top left-hand corner here. Like I said, we've got our climate control system with our thermostat adjustments at the top here. Little white button here that allows us to just finger touch to adjust the temperature settings. And below that, we have your different modes, which allow us to go through your furnace, air conditioner, and fantastic fan. As we click on it, like I said, first we get a little snowflake saying AC. Of course, the air conditioner will kick in when the temperature gets above what the thermostat is set at. Next, we've got our furnace, Trumo furnace system. Just like your house, you turn it on, set the temperature, and once the temperature gets below what the thermostat is set at, the furnace will automatically kick in and out as necessary. The last one being your fantastic fan on the ceiling. Again, like I said, when you set the temperature, when the temperature gets above what it's set at, the fan will automatically open the lid. The fan will come on to exhaust any of the excess heat inside the unit. And then when you go back around, it shuts to the off mode, and that will turn off all three of those appliances. And then on the right hand side here, we have our fan mode. So this uses the air conditioner just to move air throughout the unit. You need 110 power to run this. First, we'll have fan auto, which means it will automatically kick in when the air conditioner is turned on and needs it. Or if you just want to run the fan itself, you turn that on, and there's a fan low and fan high mode, which will allow you to run just the fan on the air conditioner just to move air. Below that, we have some lighting options here. These are quick access light controls. It allows us to turn on our porch light, our entry light just inside the door, our awning light, and then the backlight for the whole screen, so that you can turn that off so that you don't get that light shining around in your unit when you're sleeping at night. So up on the top right hand side here, we've got our DC power source, and tells us how much battery life we've got. So right now we've got about 61%. The batteries are at 67 degrees Fahrenheit, so great for charging. And we've got 13.7 volts going into the battery, because right now we're at positive 59 amps. So the shore power is sending power through the inverter to charge the batteries right now at that power source. So we can see right here below it in AC source that we are in shore power. As we switch through the sources, if we unplug the unit and turn on our inverter, this will show inverter power. And then again, like I said, if we were to run the generator, it would show generator here as well. So right in the center here, we have the generator. Little lightning bolt here lets you know that it's stopped right now with a cross through it. When it started, this will light up, that little cross will go away, and this will light up blue. All you have to do is hold down the start button. You'll hear the generator start to turn over. Once you hear it catch, then you can release the start button, and the generator should start up. The power will, in about 15 seconds, the transfer switch will switch over, and you will see that the source will go from either inverter or from nothing to generator, just to let you know that the generator is running and now you have a power source. Now below that, we have our water heater. Click on it. Once you do that, it'll switch over to the Truma AquaGo screen. Now this allows you to choose two different modes, Eco or Comfort. Eco being just a mode that allows it to use the minimum amount of gas just to keep it warm. Like I said, so it makes it easier to heat up your water heater once you get to the campground. And in comfort mode being the main mode you'd use to get your constant supply of hot water. So like I said, you click on one of those, it'll turn on, and then you can adjust your temperature that will be coming out of your taps. Standard at 107 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a pretty hot temperature. So most people just leave it right in there. And then you just push the OK button, and the water heater will turn on, and it will start going through its cycle. It'll start heating the water, sending water out to the taps, so that when you turn on the taps, you'll have hot water immediately. I'm going to shut that off right now, since we're not going to be using it. We just hit the off button, and then OK, and that'll turn it back off. Now beside that is your water pump. Like I said, this is if you're using water from your fresh tank. You just turn that on. Like I said, the little blue light will come on again. Your pump will draw water from your fresh tank. Once it's pressured up to about 50 psi, it will shut itself off. And then when you ask for water, the pump will kick back on and give you a constant water supply, and then shut back off when you turn off the source, and it pressures back up. Now, speaking of your different water sources, right here on the far right-hand side, we've got our 3 different water sources, our fresh tank, so that we can carry water with us, sometimes it's called the potable water, and then our gray water, which is our tank for our waste water from our sink, our shower, and our bathroom sinks, and then your black tank, which of course is your toilet, where your wastewater goes in. So right now they're all empty, so we'll say 0%. As you fill up your fresh tank, it'll go from 25, 50, 75, and 100. And of course, as you're using it, it'll slowly drop. And then the gray and the black's the opposite way around. As you're using your sinks and toilet, the water lines will go up from 25, 50, 75, and then up to 100%. And you'll know it's time to empty them out completely. I recommend not draining the gray or the black until they're at the 50 to 75% mark. Otherwise, you won't have enough moisture in there to move any, especially in the black tank, to move any of the solid waste out of the line as well. Now, on the very, very bottom of that, we do have one more tank, and that is your propane tank. So right now it's empty. There's a little bit of pressure in there, just residual pressure from the tank. But when you go to a service station and fill it up, this will go all the way up to 100%. And then, like I said, as you use it, again, it will slowly move its way down, letting you know that when it's time to go and fill it up. All right, let's move on to the next screen. Your next screen is your lighting screen, your master lighting. So as you see, like I said, some of these are blue and a couple are gray. All the ones that are blue are on. You can turn them on and off individually just by clicking on them. And then you can turn them all off by using your master switch on the bottom here. That will turn those on, all except for these 2 middle. The reason why is those are our exterior lights, so we don't want to have them on all the time. So like I said, we've got our porch light, which is usually just outside the entry here, and then our awning, which is on the awning's front bar. Again, you can just turn it on and off, and you'll see the blue light to let you know that that light is on. On a few of these, you'll see that there's a little slider bar on them. What this allows you to do is to dim that individual light. So you just hold it down, and you can slide that little white ball back and forth, and it will dim that section. And you can set each one individually, and then again, just turn all of them off, and when you turn them back on, they'll go back to your preset settings. Makes it nice and easy for you. Let's move to the next screen. So in the top left-hand corner, we have another DC monitor, just like the one on the main screen. It'll tell us our battery power, like I said, how much power is going in and what our system is charging at. And then below that, it'll tell us that it's charging. And then on this side, while we've got power going in, it'll tell us how much time is till it's fully charged. When we disconnect it and it's drawing, this will then tell you how much time you have left on your battery power. It's a good estimation for you just to keep track of how long your batteries will be lasting for you. Now below that, we have our solar charger button here to turn it on and off. And here it'll tell you how many volts it can supply, how much charge, and how many amps. Because we're inside a building right now, it's showing 0 amps. But if we're outside, this would go up and let you know how much sunlight is charging your system. Now you can click this little button here, and this gives you a more detailed version of what it's doing and what kind of charge it's sending into your batteries, your historical amps, how many amps your batteries had put in through your solar system, what kind of batteries, we've already set that, how many amp hours, again, we've already set that because of the batteries we put in the system. And then again, we've got another thermistor gauge here to let us know the temperature at the batteries. And again, with just some extra voltage amounts here, the maximum amount charging and the maximum amount your current it's allowing through the system, all settings that we've already preset for you. So on the top right hand side of the screen, we now have our AC power. If we're on shore power, of course, it'll tell you how many volts you're coming in through your shore power, how many amps you're drawing, and then what frequency that AC power is running. Should be around 55 to 60 hertz. If you've got outside of that range, there may be a problem with your power source. And again, if your voltage, like I said, it'll tell you at your campground whether or not you've got good power coming in. You should have in the 100 to 120 volt coming in at the campground there. Now on the right hand side of that same screen, we've got our energy management system. Depending on what source you're using, this will control if you're drawing too much power on your system. What it does is If, say, you've got 30 amp and you're drawing too much power, like I said, say you're using your cooktop and your microwave and something else, what'll happen is this will automatically adjust and shut off your microwave first, make sure that everything else continues to run, and then if it's still drawing too much power, it'll cut off your cooktop until it equalizes that power. Then once whatever the other source is that's drawing too much power, so once it's shut down, then these will slowly kick back on, cooktop first, and then microwave, and restore power to those sources for you. Below that, we have our AC source, sort of like on the front, but this shows all three sources at the same time, and then just sends the little blue line up to the source that we're using right now. So right now we're using our shore power. If we turn that off, it would come over to inverter because we've got the inverter on. And then if we wanted to use the generator, we turn on the generator and it would switch from inverter to generator because it considers generator the primary source. So generator will take over from inverter and give you your charge from that. Now below that, we have another place to start up our generator, just like on the front screen, a start and stop button that we can manually do it. Or on the left-hand side of it, we have our AGS system, or automatic generator start. What this does is allows us to set all the times and such that we want. So we can go into a manual where you can physically go in and adjust all the little things. I like to just use easy setup. It's the easiest one for most of our customers. What it does is allows to go through and allows when you want to start the generator, whether or not you want it when the air conditioner kicks on, when the batteries get low, how low you want the batteries to get before it will start up automatically, how charged you want the batteries to get before it will shut off the generator, and then how long you want it to run. So if you've got it kicking in when your air conditioner kicks in, this lets you know that once your air conditioner gets to temperature and your air conditioner kicks off, how long you want to let the generator to keep running to keep charging up the battery after the air conditioner is kicked off. And then the bottom is anytime it starts, what's the maximum time you want it to run. So whether or not you want it charging or whether or not you want the air conditioner running, do you only want it to do it for 2 hours? Do you want it to do for 1 hour and such? So that gives you that option as well. Next, we've got our quiet time settings. So a lot of campgrounds don't allow you to run your generator during certain hours. So you can automatically set this so that your automatic generator start system will not kick in during those times. And you can set it for each individual campground if you like. Just go in and adjust before you park and it'll do it for you automatically. Then you just put finish and all of your settings are set. Then you just push the AGS button, hold the continue button for 5 seconds, and your little AGS light will come on to let you know that all those settings you just set are ready. We're going to turn that back off so it doesn't kick in. When you do it manually, it'll give you a little notice to let you know why the generator AGS is no longer working. In this case, the user manually disabled the AGS. So that's the one you're probably going to see the most often when you shut it off manually. And then you continue and it'll back to your main screen. All right, let's move on to the next screen. Our next screen is our mechanical screen, and it runs a few of the mechanical items on our unit. First, our fantastic fan on our right-hand side here allows us to open and close the lid electronically. And then once it's open, we can turn on the fan and we can adjust the fan speed here, at least physically. Unlike the main screen where you can do it thermostatically, this allows you to manually turn on and off your fantastic fan and just run it however you like, say for venting while you're cooking or the such, just for a short period of time. And then when you shut it down, it automatically turns off the fan and closes the lid for you. On the top left-hand corner here, we have our sofa. So this is for making your bed up. All you have to do is push the button and hold it. Like I said, you'll actually see your sofa reclining into the flat position. Once it's done, you just let go. And then to retract it back into your seating position, you just hold the retract button and wait until it gets to its full retract position, and then let go once you see it get to the top. And below that, we have our awning. Again, just hold the button to extend your awning. Once it gets all the way to the end, you just release. A lot of times I'll bring it all the way out and then you'll see the fabric sort of sag a little bit. So then I'll just tap the retract button just a little bit to tighten up the fabric for you. And then when you go to put it away, you push the retract button, hold it until you hear the awning click back into place. Now there is one little thing at the bottom here. If you see this is when your vehicle is running. You'll see a little red light here to let you know that your awning is locked out. What this means is your awning will not extend or retract when that button is on. So on our last page, we have sort of generic adjustments. It allows us to adjust our temperature units, whether or not we want Fahrenheit or Celsius. Allows us to adjust the backlighting on the screen. So if you find it's too hard on your eyes, you can adjust that. We've got our clock, so you can adjust it for your time zone, wherever you are. And then screen settings allows us to adjust how long the screen stays on once we're not using it, whether or not we want a dark or a light scheme, what page you want to come up automatically, whether or not you want your light page to come up or the home screen, and which lights you want on that main screen. And then below that, we've got our diagnosis. It's mainly for us to give us some idea of if there's any problems. It'll give some red lights to let you know that things aren't working. The G12 is almost like our fuse panel. It'll show little blue lights for circuits that are running right now, so living room lights and such like that. And then gray lights for ones that are off at the moment. And then if there's a problem, it'll show one of these as a red light. All you have to do is turn the main battery disconnect off, hold it for a few seconds, turn it back on, and it'll reset those switches, and you can come back and check on those. And then the DCM3 gives you some more detailed information about battery health and diagnostics with some current power flow, and again, another battery temperature setting. And then if there's any major faults, it'll come up here, and you'll also see it on the main screen. Right at the top here, you'll get a little triangle here showing you that there's a fault, and then you can go back into this and it'll give you a detailed list of what exactly is happening with the fault system. All right, so that's it for our main control panel. Okay, so now we're inside the unit here, just inside our kitchen area. We're gonna start just on the top cabinets here. We've got a couple of thermistors here. What they are is, like I said, they are temperature settings, or sensors for the furnace and for our control panel. Like I said, the one, lets the furnace know how hot it is, and the other one lets the control panel know what the ambient temperature inside the unit is. So nice and easy access. So inside that cupboard here, beside it here, we've got our Xantrax inverter control. So nice and easy. All we do is push the little button on the bottom. Like I said, and now that's on. And like I said, now we've got power out to our outlets and stuff running off battery. Like I said, down to the kitchen top, we've got our front kitchen sink with our faucet. Like I said, with an extendable sprayer. Beside that, we have our induction cooktop. Like I said, nice and easy. Like I said, just a power button on the top here. Like I said, two different options here. Heat allows us to choose just 1 through 10 like a regular burner. Like I said, and then temperature works like an oven. Like I said, and actually you can choose the actual temperature you want it set at as well. Now, the one thing you want to remember though is with the induction cooktop, you're going to need some special pots and pans that have a steel bottom, because this uses a magnet to bring up the element to run this properly. Now, across the kitchen here, we've got our microwave. Like I said, just a basic household microwave, nice and easy. And then below that, we have our fridge. Now, the fridge is simple. It's a compressor style fridge. Just push the little button here. Like I said, it comes on, runs. Like I said, on the top here, we have our temperature settings. We can adjust essentially 1 through 5. 3 is about where we normally use it. Nice and easy. Like I said, and then beside that, we've got a quick little new cupboard we like. Like I said, a little pantry, pull-out pantry running on a ball bearing system. Like I said, great for cans and dry goods. Great place to put them. All right, so let's move into the back here. Now we've got our table mounted on the side here. I said these can rotate around so that we can use it in pretty much any position along the back here. Now when we're done with it, like I said, we can unhook it. We just turn the little lever and this will rotate off. And then same with the base. Just lift it off. And then the table leg just slides onto the base. And you can put it out of the way so that you can make up the bed here. So now we're going to come down to the floor level here in between the Ottomans. And the first thing we're going to point out is on the passenger side here, we've got the exhaust vents for your inverter. Your inverter is mounted under the passenger side rear Ottoman, like I said, and all the exhaust comes out there. So when that's running, you'll hear a fan running. And like I said, it can get a little loud sometimes, just to let you know that that's what's happening, is your inverter is running there, charging your system up. Now on the other side, we've got our furnace ducts. So like I said, on the top here, we have where our heat comes out, and then down at the bottom is where our return air comes back inside the unit. So it's drawing cold air in and then heated air coming out when you're running your furnace. Now on the rear driver's side Ottoman, we have our carbon monoxide propane detector. So this is connected directly into your battery. So they said this is one of the reasons why you need to disconnect your battery with the main disconnect when you're not using your unit, because this will always draw some power on your battery. Now beside that, we have our main AC power center. Like I said, so this is your main breakers, just like in your house. They said to run all the outlets and all your 110 appliances. They said just with little reset breakers. They said they just flick on and off. They said reset them when they said if something's tripped. Okay, now let's move under the driver's side Ottoman and show you some other components there. All right, so now we're underneath the driver's side rear Ottoman. Like I said, this allows us to get at our electrical underneath here. They said this is where our Truma main control panel is. So this is if we have to manually get at to start our furnace or a water heater, or if there's any errors, this is where you're going to come find them. They said, and then off to the left-hand side here, we've got our 2 reset breakers. They said our 12-volt power going into our generator and our 50 amp for our DC load on the system. And then once we close this up, we'll move around to the back of the Ottoman here. And this is where our main GFI is. Like I said, it's just mounted back here. They said it'll trip like so. And like I said, you'll get a little light on there, red light. And then you just push the little button like that to reset it. And now all your outlets will be working again. Okay, let's talk about your Pleasureways power system. There are 2 different sources of power inside your Pleasureway unit. And that includes an AC source and a DC source. DC, direct current, being your battery source, which supplies power directly to things like your USB ports, your LED lighting, your furnace motor and ignition, your water heater ignition. The second source is an AC source. This does things like your microwave, your induction cooktop, your air conditioner, and all your outlets inside your unit. For a complete list of all the AC or DC appliances in your unit, just check your manual. Like I said, there's a complete list included in there. When we're talking about AC source, there are 3 different ways to get AC power in your unit. The first being, of course, shore power, which is your plug-in that plugs into the side of the unit, plugs into a wall or a power box at the campground, and sends power just like your house would use. The second option is to get power through your generator, which will be propane, to supply onboard power from the generator into your unit. And the third is inverter power. Now this takes your DC, your batteries, and changes that DC power into AC power, then supplies that AC power out to all the outlets and stuff I was talking about earlier. Now to figure out when's the best time to use these 3 power sources, if you've got access to full-time power at your campsite, shore power is always your best option for using AC power. Now, if you're dry camping, say a parking lot or away from power, and you've got full battery power, your inverter is your best option. It will supply your power. Now, if your batteries are low and you're still away from power source, then we want to use your generator, because your generator will supply your power and will charge your batteries at the same time. All right, so your Pleasureway unit comes with a 30 amp 110 power cord. It is a 3-prong plug like such, and this allows you to run everything inside your unit, from air conditioner to induction cooktops to microwaves, whatever your unit comes with, this will run it. Now we also have an adapter from 30 amp down to 15 amp. This allows you to plug in to a household outlet and will give you the ability to run pretty much everything in your unit except for the air conditioner. The air conditioner needs over 25 amps in order to start up. So like I said, this will not be enough to run that system. Now, one little caveat is there is such a thing as 30 amp 220. This will stick into it. If you plug it into that though, it will fry everything 110 in your unit. So just be careful. Most campgrounds are all 110. Most house outlets are all run to 110. But every once in a while you'll find somebody who's run their own one and wired it into 220. So just make sure before you hook up your system that you are hooked up to 110. So if a DC source has stopped working in your unit or tripped because of a short or something like that, your DC supply will automatically reset the breaker for each one of those circuits in the unit. On your G12 on your control panel, if you notice that one of the little blue lights beside an appliance is on, indicating that the appliance should be working and it is not, you'll want to go to the driver's side rear Ottoman and check your 50 amp disconnect breaker. It may have tripped. You may need to reset it. Once you reset it, that will now allow the power to flow through to all your appliances again. If your AC source has tripped because of a power surge or something like that, you have to go to your main breaker panel, check your breakers just like in your house, and if one is tripped, you just push it down, flip it back up, and that will reset your breaker and restart that circuit. So just a quick troubleshooting tip on your Pleasureway van's Awning generator. There are a couple of breakers on your generator system that control the power for it. So one is under the driver's side rear Ottoman. It's an 80 amp reset breaker, and this controls the 12 volt power going to your generator. So check this if your generator is not starting. Now, if your generator starts and you're still not getting 110 power inside the unit, on the generator just inside the door, there's a little reset breaker. Just like on your main breaker system, it's just a quick flip up and down. Flip it up and that'll allow the power to flow out of your generator. All right, so for generator maintenance, we recommend that you run your generator once a month for 30 minutes on half a load. So if you're putting your unit away for storage, you want to make sure that you have a full propane tank in order to be able to run your generator for maintenance during the winter. When you're going to run your generator for maintenance in the winter, you want to make sure that your batteries are at 100% charge or that the temperature is above 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit before you start running your generator. So when you're trying to heat up your batteries before running your generator, the easiest way to do it is to open up the battery box and run your furnace. That'll help heat your battery compartment up faster before you start running your generator. To run your generator on half load, the easiest way is to use about a 1,000 watt little heater or hair dryer in order to help bring up that load for that half hour run. All right, now we're in the cabinet just above the rear Ottoman on the driver's side here. Like I said, and one of the first things we're going to point out is on the bottom here, we have two GFIs, one for the microwave and one for the induction cooktop. Just like the reset on the back, they said it'll trip, you'll see a little red light. When you trigger, and like I said, your appliance will come back on. So nice and easy access. Like I said, we've got our outlet up here that controls our entertainment center. This does your Blu-ray player, your TV, and your sound bar. And then on the far left-hand corner here, we have our WineGuard antenna system. Like I said, it just turns on and off in the top right, left-hand corner. And then if, like I said, once we've got to our parked, we just push the little button on the top left or right-hand side. And like I said, it will do an automatic search looking for channels for our TV. They said you'll see the little red light. It'll just flip around until it finds the best spot it can find. And then it'll tell you how many channels it's found in that area. And it'll automatically send that signal down to your television. Now you come down to your television. And like I said, we've got a little release mechanism here that allows us to pull our television out. Like I said, and with our remotes, then we can go into the settings and do a channel search. Like I said, so now that that's set up, like I said, this will now find any channels that the antenna has locked in on for us. And then we've got our sound bar again, like I said, which we use as a remote to run it. The one thing I forgot to point out here though is our Blu-ray player is just mounted at the bottom of this cupboard. And again, it's already wired in under the HDMI 1 channel on our television. So you can go through the settings and switch over to that whenever you want to watch a movie. And then when you're going to leave, make sure that you swing this around, push it back until you hear it lock in place so that that's locked in, so not swinging around while you're driving down the road. All right, so now we're going to show you how to make the bed up in the unit. So we're going to start on the mechanical page here, and we're just going to put extend on our sofa until it gets into the full extended position. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our boards that we retrieved from behind the driver's seat, and we're just going to slide them underneath here. And then what we do is we take our side cushions and just slide them into the middle, and this makes up our main bed. Now this can be left like this while you're driving if you want to make up the full bed with covers and everything. And that way when you get to your campsite, you're ready to go to bed. Like I said, it's not a problem. Like I said, it still allows you access to the rest of the unit. And like I said, makes it nice and easy for you. Okay, so now we're in our bathroom. We're going to just quickly show a couple things in here. Of course, we've got our main sink with hot and cold, and our shower attachment at the top here. Like I said, with the little hose attached to the wall there, we can just pull that off and get our shower going in here. Like I said, the floor is our shower pan. Like I said, right underneath the toilet here. Like I said, we just make sure we've got that access when we're using the shower. Like I said, the shower curtain is just mounted along behind the toilet here. Like I said, and it just pulls around the unit so that we can cover up along the doorway. We can actually leave the door open as we're using the shower. Like I said, and then our toilet is a foot flush. Like I said, just with a lever here, we just push this down. That opens up and allows the waste to drop into the black tank. And that will also allow water to come in into the bowl and help wash things away. Now, a couple things about the toilet. Two things we want to remember. One is to make sure that we're using RV toilet paper. Like I said, anything else is just like making paper mache in your black tank. And like I said, it'll make some serious problems for you in the future. The second thing is you want to make sure you're using some toilet chemical. So when you first start off, like I said, you open up your valve, pour some chemical in. You can get it in packets, pellets, powders, whatever you want. Just drop it in, add some water to it, and it creates a slurry in the tank to help break down the solid waste. Like I said, if you do those two things, like I said, it always makes it way easier and helps your toilet system last longer. The other thing you want to remember, though, is to make sure that you don't drain your toilet until it's probably about 3/4 the tank full. So make sure you've got it up to about 75% before you drain your tank. And like I said, I like to add a little extra water to the system as I'm flushing. That'll help, again, wash out that solid waste when you go to dump your tank. Okay, so now we're inside the compartment below the fridge here, and this is where our bypass for our water heater is. So right now we're in winter mode, so the bottom valve is closed. Like I said, the middle valve, which is the bypass, is open. The very top is the hot water output. It is closed, and then the white line over here is the recirculating line, and it is in the closed position. So like I said, for summer, once you run the antifreeze out of the system, you just give each one of these a quarter turn like so to reverse the position of each one of the valves. Okay, so the other thing we need to get access to for winterizing is the water pump. So just under the bottom drawer, the last one just pops off. It's just got a couple of catches. And then in the back on the far right hand side is where we disconnect the line and connect our winterizing line to start pumping antifreeze through the system. All right, so that is the walkthrough for your Ascent TS today. Like I said, any other questions, don't hesitate to check your manuals, contact your local dealer, or call our helpline at Pleasureway Industries.